Miranda's America.
Hi, I'm Miranda. While I was born and raised in North Carolina, I've been a New Yorker for all of my adult life. But now I want to see more, and I'm bringing you with me as I seek out all of the great things America has to offer. Join me on my adventures.
When I travel, I want to experience a city as a tourist and a local. Find the polar extremes of what's available in an area and you found a good time. That's what I do.
On this episode, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
As locals refer to it, Nashville. Let's start with what we know. Nashville is the capital of Tennessee. It's the home of the Grand Ole Opry, the base of the Tennessee Titans. You know, the sorts of things locals are proud to share with the passers through, but that is not enough for me. I want more.
Here's what I found.
So, Centennial Park was built in the late 1800s to celebrate Tennessee having been a state for over 100 years. But now this park is over 100 years old. Pretty cool. It was the site of the Tennessee Centennial and International Exposition. Prior to that, this was farmland, a staging assembly area during the War of 1812 and the Civil War. Later, it was used as a fairground and a racetrack. Man, I gotta tell you, this is making me a little homesick for North Carolina. My mom is an avid gardener, and these flowers are gorgeous. There's a lake, there are picnic tables, but there's something else that I was not prepared for. Come on. Yeah, that is a full-scale replica of the Parthenon. Among Nashville's many nicknames are Nash Vegas, Music City, USA, and also the Athens of the South. So the original structure was built in the late 1800s. It was made with wood and plaster and brick, but when it started to deteriorate in the 20s, they recovered the outside with a more permanent concrete.
Let's check out what's inside the Parthenon, huh?
Here she is. This is the Athena Parthenos, with a hefty weight of 12 tons, give or take, and a height of 42 feet and 10 inches. Nashville native Alan LeQuire built Athena Parthenos. In all honesty, no, I wasn't in love with the statue, but I was intrigued. I mean, what kind of a city does that? Nashville was starting to show me a little leg.
For lunch, I was told to try this local German place, the Gerst House.
In an area of Nashville dubbed Germantown, I found exactly what I was hoping for, an authentic German restaurant. The atmosphere was slightly kitschy in a self-aware and fun way. It was absolutely adorable. While once upon a time the Gerst beer was brewed here in Nashville, today it's outsourced to Pittsburgh, but maintains the original Gerst tradition. It's super hot outside, so I'm so stoked to have a Gerst in a fish bowl. So cheers to that, huh? Thank you. I can't even lift this up with one hand. It's probably inappropriate to drink beer with a straw, but let's just not talk about it. So I'm looking over the menu here, and they have all of the traditional German fare. They have stroganoff, bratwurst, kielbasa, schnitzel, and spatzel. I always forget how to say that one, but they have it, so if you want to try that, go for it. Something that's kind of caught my eye is the pig knuckle, which it says on the menu is a Gersthaus tradition. So while a pig knuckle makes me a little nervous, I think I'll give it a go. Okay, I'm sitting here with the knuckle. I'm a little intimidated, I won't lie. However, I am willing to give it a go. So I'm not quite sure where to start. I might take a moment and then I'll dive in with my trusty fork, huh? So I got a pig knuckle lesson, which is basically, I mean, this meat is so tender it just falls apart. So you kind of just pick at it. And then the top secret, let me get more of that kraut on there, is to add a little bit of mustard. All right, here goes. You know, it's actually really good. It just kind of tastes like ham. And with the sauerkraut and the mustard, I mean, I could eat this on a sandwich. I'm surprised and pleased. My bratwurst has arrived. It came on a toasted bun and some sauerkraut. I'll definitely have to add some mustard. And I have some sweet red cabbage here, so I'm ready to dig in. It's juicy, it's tender, the mustard is amazing, the sauerkraut has like the perfect amount of tang, and the crunch of the toasted bread is just out of this world. This is gonna be gone in like 5 seconds. I'll see you when I'm done. I am all full of bratwurst and beer. Let's go. You're watching Miranda's America. Up next, Lost River Cave. This place wound up being one of my dark horses. We literally saw a sign off the side of the highway, looked up the address, and stopped in. As it turns out, the place had some really cool history. Something I absolutely love about America is our folklore. My guide was telling me about how locals believe Jesse James and his gang holed up inside the cave for 3 days. So this is what happened. Apparently the gang shows up to the cave and one of his gang members is injured. So Jesse goes to town and brings a doctor at gunpoint. The doctor works on his friend, heals him up, and leaves. Well, of course, when he leaves, he goes to the police, who then stood outside of the mouth of the cave for 3 days. Well, the legend goes, Jesse and his gang never came out, and they had escaped about a mile down the road from a different exit out of the cave.
So I just finished up my boat ride, and I've got to tell you, that was a lot of fun.
Aside from the obvious attraction, the underground boat tour, the Lost River Cave offers 37 acres of land with over 2 miles of beautiful nature trails. I highly recommend checking out Butterfly Junction. That's right, they have an adorable butterfly house with several species of butterflies that are native to Kentucky.
What a sweet little garden. I mean, think about it. I paid for a cave tour, and I got to hike on these gorgeous trails and see this beautiful little butterfly garden. This place is really great.
So what could we find in Nashville from France, Germany, Italy, Sweden, and the United States? Cars.
I'm here at the Lane Motor Museum, which opened in 2002. Inside are over 150 rare and unusual European cars. Let's go check it out. The museum is housed in the former Sunbeam Bakery, which opened in 1951 and at the time was the largest and most modern in the area. At a whopping 132,000 square feet, there's a lot of room for cars inside this place.
The building's open floor plan, high ceilings, and natural light really complement the collection. The majority of the vehicles displayed at the museum are from the 1950s through the 1970s, although they do have vehicles from as early as the 20s and as late as 2000.
So you can get inside some cars, but they're not always in the best condition because you have an all-around 360 sunroof.
Cars are a reflection of the times. When gas is cheap, cars get bigger. When gas is expensive, people go for smaller cars.
How many clowns do you think could fit in there?
Ironically, here comes a fun fact, I've never actually had a car. Yep, I said it. I love looking at them, love driving them, but I've never needed to have one. Aren't I just the most eco-friendly?
The museum is a nonprofit, so the proceeds go towards preserving and maintaining these historic cars.
Countries are always in transition, but we're in a particularly strange time. I mean, 100 years ago, people didn't have cell phones, they didn't have fax machines, they weren't scared of atomic bombs. People have always asked the question, what's next? But in a time of what's next, I like to look back and think about what we've got.